Right, my thoughts after 1 year of use of this MRS Nomad S1 packraft, or I would actually not call this that much of a packraft, more like an inflatable kayak. It is heavy for a packraft. On the other hand, it is very lightweight for an inflatable kayak. It is fast on water, it is slow on land. Slow, I mean, it's heavier to carry, but also it's a bit more fiddly with the internal storage system. Okay, this is the first boat of mine that has that, so that also might still be a bit of a learning curve there left. Anyway, heavier to drag if there is stuff in. It's bigger, it takes more space when packing. I felt much more safe while paddling this on the sea as compared to a normal packraft. This was closer to kayak than a packraft over there. And what else? Yeah, stability. Normal wise, I don't even notice the difference to a normal packraft, but in the rapids this behaves a bit more like a kayak. It tends to, like the tail tends to grab the current more. Of course, it's longer. It's different. It has a different use for me, at least in my case. For this trip that I'm doing right now, where I carried the boat and my gear over the tree line, I would not take this again. Unless if I was to continue onwards to the bigger lakes, open water in the end, where this would absolutely be the right choice. So no perfect boat for our conditions. I don't think such a thing exists. If I was to go on the big lake Inari and paddle to Vatsari and then onwards to Norway, I would take this boat. No questions asked, even though it's heavy to track over. But still, the big lake, this would be better. If I were to carry it for long distances over the mountains, then something else. I might get a third raft and see if my brothers have a use for the micro raft, or keep it as a guest boat. But yeah, that's for another video. This is a bit more unstable, but not much, to be honest. And the tie straps help a lot, because you cannot brace your knees against the removable spray skirt. On the other hand, the tie straps are also take a bit of a learning curve. They need to be really tight to work, at least for me. So there's that. And also they help with carrying, but then they tend to get stuck on things on your legs. Sometimes not as much that it would be any kind of hazard, I think. I have not yet capsized in this boat, and I hope to keep things that way until I go to a beach near my home where I can practice. About the size of the Nomad, I am 180 centimeters, 1 meter 80 centimeters, and it is, well, let's say it's just big enough for me. I wouldn't want to be any bigger. My foot is touching the bow inside. Depends a bit on your body proportions, how long legs versus how long back. Okay, due to the sharper shape, big boots are not an option here. Even like I have a trail runners with very grippy bottoms that I use, and yeah, they are a bit too large already. I don't want to use anything with soft soles because that's not good for wading when you need it. I tried neoprene booties, and yeah, those tend to slip in between the rocks a lot, and that's not good. So I prefer something more grippy and more stable. The internal storage system is very good when on water, if it doesn't leak, but it's a pain in the ass to pack in the morning and unpack again. I like to make everything ready first and then have my breakfast and like take my time and going, but it's not possible with this, or it would if I packed a bit differently. There is a trunk, the back compartment, but it is wet. There is always water at the bottom of the boat, if from nothing else, from your shoes, and that's the lowest point, I think, so it's always wet the bottom, so keep that in mind. Yeah, the spray skirt is removable, like, and it's like proper spray skirt, so it works much better than the MRS Microraft. The load carrying capacity is amazing. I think I could easily transport, I could even take the Kota tent and a stove and some firewood on this. I think it's like 150 kilograms, or no more, I think. Close to 200. What else? Yeah, I have to play around a bit. I know I can do a wet entry into this, unassisted. At least in the warm sea in Thailand. I tried that. So it's plenty stable enough for that, much easier than for example to our proper kayak. It is not as fast or as nice to paddle on flat water as a kayak. It cannot keep up with fast paddlers, absolutely not, but it is a bit faster than a normal packraft. So I would say my yesterday on this river with some current, nothing too much, I got consistently about 5 kilometers per hour speed, including like all the small breaks and photography and stuff. With the MRS Microraft, the average is around 3 kilometers per hour, including all the breaks. Like, I like to calculate my speeds. So I would say I can safely say 4 kilometers per hour with this one, maybe even a 5. I'll need more data on that. I have noticed that this is much more, this is more sensitive to the pressure and the water air temperature differences. It starts to sag easily, so the hand pump is essential. So that's one thing, because yeah, it's longer and you have like bending when you are sitting in the middle. Materials supposed to be the same as the MRS Microraft. I know the Microraft has lasted a lot of abuse for use and abuse for the last 4 years.
Well, after some more experience with the MRS Nomad, it seems that it is actually not as robust as MRS Microraft, at least in my experience. The Microraft has not suffered any real damage after almost 5 years of use, tracking it on rocks and on swamps and on ice even. There is only some scratches in the bottom. And no leaks ever on the actual tubes, the air chamber. The MRS Nomad already got several rips into the bottom, and also there is like a small leak, slow leak on the main air chamber.
Oh yeah, one thing about the boat, this one, it's yeah much more keeps its direction, but much better than the Microraft. Still it tends to turn, especially when you want to take a picture. But I think that's just something that's built into packrafts. And it here, like when I enter the eddy, it tends to surprise me a bit with the, it's a bit unstable when we cross the eddy border, but I guess that's just kayak-like behavior. All right. Yeah, it's the long tail still in the current and the bow in the eddy, and I'm not so used to that. My recommendations, this is just my opinion, but I would say if you have no kayaking experience and you want a packraft, this is not it. I would go for something more packraft kind. They are easier for a beginner and they give you a good. They are fast to deploy. You can get paddling quickly near your place, even in urban settings. And easy to carry if you get something lighter. If I were to buy a new packraft, I would go for the Rebel 2K. And I might in the near future. But that's another subject. Then again, if you are a bit more advanced packrafter, this gets you closer to like kayak type of kind of paddling. So I'm still learning the rapid paddling like skills bit by bit, but yeah, this is kind of like the next step with the tie straps and everything. But I have to admit that if I had just bought this 4 years ago and went directly into rapids, I would have capsized much more, been in much more trouble, and maybe even quit the whole thing because it would have been more difficult. I don't say that this is difficult to paddle, it's still easier than a real kayak, but yeah, gives you the softness, gives you a lot of, it's like a bumper boat. Then again, if you are a kayaker and want to go into packrafts or something lighter that you want to transport, maybe even put in an airplane or transport with a bicycle, this would be a good choice, maybe. I don't know of any lighter weight inflatable kayak, to be honest. You might know something lighter, but this is, and I mean the back size is also very small compared to like a proper kayak. Of course it cannot do all the things, but I know master paddlers can do kayak rolls on these, even the normal packrafts. So up to your skills. That's not so much for me, but yeah, that's my recommendation.